Doom Eternal doesn't pull any punches. It just fucking punches. Doom 2016 was probably my favorite FPS game, period. No more regenerating health, none of that duck and cover bullshit, no distractions, just 100% game. It was one of the most intense games I had ever had the pleasure of playing, so naturally when I heard about Doom Eternal, I was all over that shit. I knew I was getting it day one. But to be perfectly honest, I was a little bit concerned. The trailers were showing off all these crazy mechanics. Now, why does that bother me? Well, a trend in games these days seems to be to put a shitload of different mechanics in every game, and I've seen this go wrong a lot. Some games have so many mechanics that you forget half of them and just spam what works.
Remember that practice makes perfect, okay? Demon fist, demon fist, demon fist.
On the other hand, I've seen games that have a shitload of mechanics but do a very poor job at adequately explaining their full potential to you. So they introduced this dash, which was cool, but then they give you this flamethrower, and I really start getting worried. Then they showed off the shotgun grapple hook, and then the monkey bars and the climbing, and honestly, I thought it was going to dilute the whole experience. But I'm happy to say that it absolutely did not. This all might seem intimidating at first, but once you're in the zone, you're on your own, and it will all come together. You set them on fire and they drop armor, you use the monkey bars and the dash to evade enemies, and that's the big leap from Doom 2016 to this game. Your evasive maneuvers are massively upgraded and you absolutely have to use them, all the time. If you don't, the Marauder's gonna kill you and then have sex with your wife. In spite of all the bells and whistles, it is still very much a Doom game. The atmosphere, the enemies, the violence, the music, it's all there. Doom Eternal's gameplay is a sadistic and cruel contradiction. You have to play smart and think about what you're doing, economize your limited ammo, but also you have to get in there and go fucking absolutely apeshit. If you play the game stupid, you die. If you wait too long to make an on-the-fly decision, you fucking die. The game just kicks your ass from every direction possible. It abuses you until you say fuck it and lay waste to all your enemies. Oh, it's hard. It'll piss you off. It'll make you so angry you'll want to put your fist through the screen. But it is the most satisfying thing when you finally get past your hurdles. But the game does not hesitate to raise the bar higher and higher. The second you overcome one challenge, they throw another more brutal one at you. Finally! Yes! Oh my god. You know, it's a good thing there weren't two of those guys.
We are not done yet.
I think the best example of this would be the Marauder. When I first fought this guy, I assumed he was a one and done boss fight and I'd never have to fight him again. I was wrong. By the end of the game, you fight this dickhead maybe 17 times, and each time there are always a shitload of different enemies with him. The enemies are probably one of the coolest and cruelest parts of the game. You'll see the return of many familiar faces from Doom 2016, but also you're going to see a bunch from older Doom games that weren't in 2016. You also got the Marauder. As I said, he's probably my favorite guy in the world. You have these tentacle dickheads that I keep forgetting are there, but then there's the fucking degenerate Archvile. Seriously, this guy is the worst. No bullshit, kill this guy first. If you see him, ice him the first chance you get. I don't care how you play the game otherwise, but kill that son of a bitch first. I am not lying to you, I have used an entire BFG shot just to kill that one guy. Kill the Archvile first. I am Phantom Bane and that is my final and most essential command. There are also these annoying things called buff totems. Basically, they buff all the surrounding enemies and make them spawn infinitely until you destroy it. It's fucked up. If you crank the difficulty to Nightmare as I did, you will experience the single bloodiest battle of your fucking life. Nightmare difficulty is incredibly intense and I strongly recommend it. Well, really, the game is meant to make you feel unstoppable, like the Doomslayer, so you can honestly play on whatever difficulty you feel is comfortable. But play on Nightmare. There are also a lot of extra things like the Slayer Gates. The game describes these as optional, intense encounters. Now, I saw this and I just thought, well, the rest of the game is just non-optional intense encounters. How hard could this be? Very hard, apparently. Then you got these little timed encounters where a small number of enemies show up and you have to kill them within a time limit. Doing these gets you special weapon upgrade points. Like in Doom 2016, you unlock upgrades for your weapons and then you get points that let you upgrade the upgrades, which is fucking sick. There are also these tokens which do upgrades for your suit, and these upgrades which upgrade health, ammo, and armor. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. Of course I upgraded all ammo first because the best defensive is a good offensive. There's also the blood punch which you fill up by getting glory kills, which have made a brilliant comeback in this game. There's this badass fucking sword that just kills enemies in one hit. There's the chainsaw that insta-kills enemies and gives you ammo. And as always, the BFG. And you got the runes that give you all kinds of abilities and upgrades. I use the one that makes time slow down when you press right click in midair, and the one that slows down time when you're about to die. I think between the music, the atmosphere, and the sheer intensity of the game, the intended effect is to make the player as tense and pissed off as the Doomslayer. This is a man driven by pure, unfiltered rage, and that's the story. A man who is just way too fucking angry to die, and he is taking it out on every last demon in existence. The game does have cutscenes, dialogue, and much more of a narrative than Doom 2016, but Doom Guy is still incredibly expressive even when he's not speaking, which is 99% of the game.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
Samuel Hayden's all like, "Wah, you can't use a weapon to launch yourself into Mars," and he's just like, "What's that? I can't hear you. I was too busy using a weapon to launch myself into Mars." Every time he has to interact with a human, they are just in complete and utter awe at his very existence, and he just steps over everybody. He is a force of nature, maybe even supernatural. One thing a lot of people complain about is that the game has a lot of platforming between the monkey bars and the climbing sections. I'm split on that because on the one hand it does distract a lot from the shooting, but at the same time it's a welcome breath of fresh air. It kinda clears your head before the next shootout, which is inevitable. There are a shitload of secrets to collect and discover. You got these little plastic toys of the demons, you got the secret music tracks, there are secret one-ups, upgrade points, and all sorts of things. Oh my god. I just realized something. So this game has a lot of platforming, and it has a lot of collectibles. Doom Eternal is a rareware platformer like Banjo-Kazooie, but it's Doom. Doom. Why, it's the best game ever made. If I had an idea for a game, this is what it would look like. This game was literally made for me. As always, Mick Gordon has taken Satan's unbridled rage and, using a very sophisticated algorithm that he wrote himself, converted it into music. Seriously, the music kicks ass, but it's not just Doom music. You can also find Wolfenstein music, Commander Keen, Quake. Which reminds me, why don't they start making new Quake games? I mean, they did Doom, they did Wolfenstein. Doesn't Quake seem like the next logical option? Doom Guy has this spaceship called the Fortress of Doom, which is badass. It kind of serves as a sort of hub world, and there are all these secrets you can find and unlock by using the Sentinel batteries. Now, unlike the new Wolfenstein games where the hub world is just you running around bringing things to people for 20 minutes in between every mission, the Fortress of Doom lets you explore at your own leisure and on your own time. It doesn't force it on you. You do that yourself when you feel like it. And then you can jump right into the next mission, again, when you feel like it. And that's what makes it so great. This is not the kind of game that wastes your time. It's back-to-back apeshit. Now, if I had to complain about something, I'd say there are times where you're dashing or moving in the middle of a fight, but then you get stuck on something that you can't see. And there are places where it looks clear, but it's really not. There's an enemy that's somehow in your way even though you can't see them. You have a boss fight that can do this in a game with no crouching. The climbing and leaping can be awkward at times, and also the extra lives, the most bullshit item in the game. You see, if you get an extra life, you come back to life the second you die, but the only problem is that they don't recharge on checkpoint reloads. They don't come back. If you use your extra life and then hard die, the extra life is permanently gone and the game is permanently more difficult. Thanks for the fucking tease. Honestly, fuck the extra lives. Just get good and carry on. Also, apparently there's no online deathmatch in the game, which is dumb considering Doom literally invented the fucking concept. Many levels also have these points of no return. If you get too far in the level, the way back will be blocked off and you can't backtrack. In a game where exploration is such a big deal, it seems like such a huge oversight. This was also a problem in Doom 2016. I hoped they would fix it, and unfortunately they didn't. So rip me, I guess. Also the Archvile. Fuck this guy. But the presentation is top notch as always. It seems to be slightly less dark and a little more cartoonish, but not in a childish way. It seems more like it's trying to harken back to the aesthetic of the original games. The enemy designs look more akin to the classic designs than the hyper-evil aesthetic of Doom 2016. Back when I played Doom 2016, I was blown away by the sheer intensity and insanity of the game, and I am happy to say that Doom Eternal has managed to once again recapture that energy. It's one of the most intensely fun and psychotic gaming experiences, and one of the best FPS games I have ever played. It's so deadly, so satisfying, so insane, just as it is infuriating. Some games tell great stories and have lovable characters and beautifully crafted worlds. But some games just punch.